Hey there, friends and students. Mrs. Dando here, and welcome back to Mrs. Dando's Desk.
Oh, hi there.
A place for all things social, emotional learning. What is that? It's just a boring way of saying we're learning about our thoughts and our feelings, how to take care of them so that we can be a better friend, a better learner, and most importantly, a better part of our community.
Awesome.
That means like the world and where you live. And today, well, it's a little dark in here. I think we need to get some lights on. Whew, that's so much better. Like I said, we're learning how to take care of our thoughts and feelings so that we can be a better learner. And that's a little bit of what we're gonna talk about today.
Come on, what?
Now you might be wondering, why would I need a flashlight to learn how to learn? And don't worry, we're not learning about math or reading, not that those aren't very important things. They're just not my area of expertise. We're gonna learn how a flashlight could be a simple tool to help us become a better learner when we are at school. I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
No.
You see, the skill we're gonna learn about today is literally like a superpower. When I look at this flashlight, I can use it to do so many great things.
Oh yeah? Like what?
When I turn it on, if it had batteries, I guess, I could use it to point at every single thing in my room. If I point it at my desk,
Ooh.
it shows me my desk. If I point it up at the ceiling,
Wow.
it's gonna show me my ceiling. If I'm moving behind the refrigerator at home and I point it at the dust behind the refrigerator, it's gonna show me all the dust. This flashlight puts light on whatever I shine it on, obviously. But did you know in your brain, it's kind of like you also have a giant invisible flashlight. I'm gonna call it your focus flashlight. Wherever you point it, it's where your brain learns. You see, at school, there's a lot of different things we have to learn. Or I guess I should say we get to learn. And it's all really important. But also at school, there are like a million things that distract us.
Squirrel.
Our classrooms are a busy place. Sometimes your focus flashlight wants to wander the room and pay attention to other things. Maybe it's the kid tapping their pencil. Maybe it's the teachers having a conversation out in the hallway. Maybe it's the posters hung up around the classroom. Maybe it's the lawnmower driving outside the window of your classroom. Maybe it's the sound of the air vents turning on. It could be all kinds of different things. And sometimes our focus flashlight wants to focus a little bit more on those things than the things that we're actually supposed to be focused on. This can make school a little bit tricky because we end up missing directions or instructions or things that we were supposed to be doing. That's why learning to use our focus flashlight is such an important skill to become a great learner here at school. All those distractions, I like to call them distraction drifters, meaning they make our flashlight drift in a different direction than they're supposed to be going. These distraction drifters aren't bad things, they're just distractions. They try to steal the light from our flashlight and make it harder for us to focus our light on those things that we're supposed to be paying attention to, the things that we need to shine our light on. Your brain suddenly feels so in the dark. And we don't know what to do. How do we get our flashlight focused back on what it's supposed to be paying attention to? Well, you're in luck, because today we're gonna learn 2 super skills to get our focus flashlight locked in on whatever it is we're supposed to be learning. Our first skill is called locking the beam. The beam is the light that comes out of our flashlight. Don't pay any attention to mine because it's not working. I'm gonna roll with it. When you need to focus, I want you to imagine an invisible lock around your focus flashlight. And that lock is gonna grab on to whatever it is that you're supposed to be focusing on. Even if you hear a sound, you lock that beam. Even if you see something out of the corner of your eye, you're gonna lock that beam. Even if your friend tries to ask you a question or tell you a joke, lock that beam. Maybe you're supposed to be locked in on your teacher. Imagine that invisible lock on your flashlight, locked in on your teacher. Maybe you're supposed to have your focus flashlight on the smart board. Where are you gonna put your lock? on your smartboard. Whatever distraction is trying to drift your flashlight away, lock it back on to what you're supposed to be paying attention to. So this sounds pretty simple, right? But we know that those distraction drifters can easily pull that lock away. So what do we do when it gets too hard to lock the beam? That's when you gotta use your internal coach. Now, I bet a bunch of you play sports, baseball, soccer, maybe dance, basketball, chess, I don't know. Whatever sport you play, you've got a coach. That's the person who tells you what to do, who gives you encouragement, and probably a lot of reminders. Inside of each one of you is a coach too. And that coach is inside your brain, ready to give you reminders, encouragement to do what you're supposed to do, just like a real coach would. So when you've got your focus flashlight locked in on what it's supposed to be paying attention to, but you start to feel it drifting away, those distractions pulling at it, that's when your internal coach is gonna come out and remind you of what to do. Your internal coach might say things like, nope, stay focused. Keep that flashlight on your teacher. Listen to the instructions right now. Actually, wherever you're at, I want you to think of one thing that your internal coach could tell your brain when you start to feel yourself getting a little bit distracted. Maybe it's pay attention, focus. You've got this. Lock in. The more that you practice using your internal coach, the easier it's going to be when you actually need to use it, when you actually need to focus that flashlight on what you're supposed to be doing. In fact, let's play a little game. I'm gonna call it the flashlight challenge. With my poor broken flashlight. We're gonna pretend we're in science class, mixing up a potion. Your job is to lock in, use your focus flashlight, and I want you to count how many times I say the word frog. But watch out, because behind the camera, I'm gonna be using some distraction drifters to try to get your attention off of the words that I'm saying. Lock that beam and use your internal coach. Focus on Miss Dando. Are you ready to try? Here we go. Today, my friends, we are mixing a magic potion. Our first ingredient, 3 drops of swamp water. Our next ingredient, a slimy frog toe. Ugh, disgusting. Then we need 2 crunchy beetle wings, 7 legs from a spider, a green frog whisker, and 10 drops of Diet Coke. Just because honestly, that's one of the greatest drinks of all time.
Absolutely right.
Mix it together. 2 more drops of frog spit and mix it up. And what do you have? How many times did I say the word frog? The answer is, did you get it right? Were you able to lock in? Were you able to ignore my distraction drifters and not pay attention to some of the silly things? What did you tell your brain to stay focused? What did you do to keep that light stuck on the word frog? Obviously, that was a silly example of how we can focus our attention. But using our flashlight takes a lot of practice. This all sounds really easy, but it can be tricky. But just like you practice that video game or practice riding your bike, you can practice using your focus flashlight to get stronger at ignoring distractions. So here's your challenge from Mrs. Dando's desk this week. The next time you're sitting in a classroom listening, I want you to click on your flashlight, lock in your beam, and tell your brain, shine that light on what I need. Maybe you try this challenge at home. Let's face it, your grown-up at home probably gives you lots of directions that you need to follow. And there are a ton of distraction drifters in your house. In fact, probably more than you have at school. Stay focused on whatever it is that your grown-up is telling you to do. And then see how fast you can follow that direction. Because when we don't use our focus flashlight, we're kind of left in the dark, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to finish work, so confused. So learning to use our focus flashlight is a skill that's gonna make you such a better learner so that you feel confident in the things that you do. Okay, I gotta figure out where to get batteries for this thing, because now I'm just left in the dark and I can't see anything. Until next time, friends, I'll see you around. Oh, and before I go, as always, I want you to remember, you belong, you matter, and you are worthy. See you guys.